Hello, viewers and subscribers. Welcome to Blackford's Art of Learning. During today's lesson, we will be focusing on part 4 of our week-long lesson on evaluating arguments. Today's standard will be RI 7.8. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So, welcome to middle school. Today's quote is, skill is only developed by hours and hours of work, by Usain Bolt. Today's anchor chart contains 3 key terms that we will need to know for our lesson. Claim, a statement that answers the question. Evidence, the scientific data and details that support your claim. Reasoning explains how or why the evidence supports the claim. Now, let's listen to this instructional video, which gives more information about evaluating a source's reasoning and evidence.
Hello, readers. How do we know what is true and what isn't? My mama always told me, don't believe everything you read. Just because someone took the time to write something down, send it off to be typeset and designed, and printed in a book or published on the internet, doesn't mean they bothered to tell you the truth. You should be skeptical of all informational writing until the writer gives you a reason to trust them. Honestly, you should be skeptical of me until I give you a reason to trust me. Who am I, after all? Just some stranger on the internet. Well, that's a little unfair, actually. You probably knew about Khan Academy well before you watched this video, which means you have a sense that the information we teach is reputable or trustworthy. So maybe I'm already at an advantage for you, trustworthiness-wise, because you associate me with an institution you already have good feelings about. When an author writes for informational purposes, they want you to believe that they're telling the truth, but you can't just accept that on faith. No human being is so important that they can't be bothered to explain themselves. Now let's be clear, that doesn't mean that everyone you disagree with personally owes you an explanation. It just means that you don't have to swallow their arguments hook, line, and sinker. So how do we move forward? We can't just go around in a nightmarish swirl of misinformation, never knowing whom to trust. That's no good. Society couldn't function. Imagine looking at the weather report and saying, I don't believe you, and then walking outside your home in shorts when the forecast calls for snow. That would be terrible. For you. The key is to ask yourself, why should you trust the weather forecast? Well, forecasters are scientists, specifically meteorologists. Their job is to study weather patterns and make predictions. And that doesn't mean they always get it right, because they're making what amounts to educated guesses about the weather. But their expertise and their access to weather monitoring equipment make them likelier to know what the weather's going to do than the average person would. And this is basically the test you should bring to all informational writing. Good readers look for clues to establish trustworthiness, to establish that the author knows what they're talking about, that they've done their research, that they're an expert worth listening to. Someone who hops on YouTube and says, here's why your teachers are lying to you about the goblins who live in the moon, is someone that warrants some skepticism, a little side-eye. Also, how awesome would it be if there were moon goblins, and why would anyone want that information to be kept secret? Okay, when you look at a text, you have to wrap your head around 3 big things. 1. The main idea or the claim. What is the author trying to say, explain, or convince you of? 2. The evidence for that claim. What are the facts, details, or other pieces of information that tell us that that claim is true or accurate? And 3. The reasoning. How does the evidence prove that the claim is true? Okay, so let's imagine that this conspiracy guy on YouTube is trying to make the case about those goblins. Let's listen in on his argument. I firmly believe that there is a colony of goblins living inside the moon, and the government is keeping this information from you. How do we know this? Look at the moon. See that little squiggle? You were taught that was just a crater, but it isn't. It's actually the tip of an enormous goblin moon base. How do I know that? The goblins told me so. I have a special phone line from my house to the moon goblins, and through me, they can answer any questions you've got. Our moon door is always open, the goblins tell me. All right, so what's the claim? Goblins live inside the moon. What's his proof? What we think is a crater on the moon is actually a goblin moon base. What's his reasoning? What backs that up? He says the goblins told him so. Now, is that evidence, or is that just something he's telling us? Well, one way we can know he's probably full of baloney is that only he can talk to the moon goblins. Right? He says he's got a special phone line. They can answer questions through him. We can't talk to the goblins. We can't have access to any of their information. He's behaving like the information is freely out there for anyone, but it isn't. You have to go through him. So can the stuff he's saying be independently verified? That is to say, can anyone other than this person prove that there are moon goblins, or that that crater is a moon base? Are there photos or video from those goblins? And if not, why not? This doesn't pass the smell test for me. There's proof, but only I get to see it is not proof. That's just made up. When it comes to making arguments, you have to show your work. A good writer has to earn the trust of their audience, and a good reader has to make a writer work for that trust. What does that look like, I hear you asking? Excellent question. Let's take a look at a piece that does its homework. Okay, let's read. There are some conspiracy theorists that claim that NASA's moon landing missions in the late 60s and 70s never happened, despite the mountain of evidence to the contrary. They claim that the photographs were faked, the mission recordings were scripted, and the moon rocks were nothing more than ordinary Earth rocks. Perhaps you are among these conspiracists. If so, let me prove to you that the moon landings took place. Perhaps you are skeptical of the US government, which was in the middle of the Cold War with the Soviet Union, and a shooting war in Vietnam. Perhaps you believe that any information from NASA is therefore suspicious. Fortunately for you, there is plenty of third-party evidence that Americans traveled to and landed on the moon. An observatory in the UK that previously observed the Russian launch of the Sputnik probe used its radio telescope to observe the 1969 moon landing. The Bochum Observatory, this one in Germany, also confirms that mission. Finally, present-day photos from many different space agencies around the world have confirmed the presence of footprints, rover tracks, and the lunar rovers themselves. In order for a moon landing to have been faked, the rocket scientist James Michael Longuski estimates that more than 400,000 people who worked on the projects in some capacity would have had to keep the conspiracy a secret. In his 2006 book, The 7 Secrets of How to Think Like a Rocket Scientist, Longuski suggests that, given how complicated it would be to fake such a project, it might actually be easier to just go ahead and do the moon landing in the first place. So, if you don't believe the US government, this writer is saying, let's look at some other sources. How do we know those sources are real? Well, we have some names to look into to independently verify it. We've got this rocket scientist. We have the name of this German observatory. We could look into and verify these statements. It's not just one guy asserting that there's goblins on the moon. It's someone saying, here are some non-NASA sources that can confirm that Americans landed on the moon. Be careful out there. It's a wild world of people who want to bend your brains and turn you against your neighbors. Use your brain, your heart, and your reading skills to fend them off as you develop your principles. You've got this, readers. You can learn anything. David out.
Okay, boys and girls, I hope you were listening carefully, because now it is your time to share what you have learned from this video. Let us pause the video so you can share your responses. All right, we'll be doing a Blooket game to review some things that we learned during our evaluation of arguments. So I'm going to generate a code that you will use to access the game. Select crypto. And the number that you'll need to use is 1064199. So once everyone has joined, then we can start the game. And start it. So all you need to do is read the question or statement and choose the most suitable answer. Position. Just read all the options. Volume. Right, and we keep doing that until the game has ended. Right, for the sake of time, we will move on. Okay, so this is just an example of the game that we can do. Okay, let's go back to our lesson. Okay, so we'll be reading the story Mustang Times. Once we click on the link, we'll go to Classkick. Okay. So I'm going to do a cold call and I'm going to ask somebody to read. And usually when I say cold call, students would say cold call. So Thomas will read today. Read the selection, then answer the questions. The Mustang Times, the student publication of Clover Middle School. So this text was taken from a publication that was done at a middle school, because some schools have their own school magazine, their own school publication. Okay. Okay, real opinions by real students. This week, 7th grade student Roxanne Valdez responds to the question, has the school day become too competitive? Rethinking school culture and competition. Middle school is an interesting time. We are old enough for new privileges and experiences, but we don't yet have to juggle the heavy responsibilities of high schoolers, like working and completing nightly mounds of homework. You'd think we would be a relaxed and happy bunch, right? The middle school day has become so competitive that it is nearly impossible to feel relaxed. We students constantly receive the message that we must excel at everything. Each time we set foot in the classroom or on the playing field, We know we are being evaluated and ranked. As a result, we feel stressed and anxious. The stress caused by this over-competitive environment is not healthy, and it holds us back during a time when we should feel free to try new things. So here the students are saying that middle school day has become so competitive, and it is impossible for them to feel relaxed. Much of this harmful competition centers around the classroom. It's good to care about your grades, but some students carry this concern too far. For example, I recently saw a friend walk out of class looking like she had just gotten some terrible news. When I asked her what was wrong, she said she earned a B plus rather than an A. The girl is a strong student, but she is always doubting herself, always worried about what grade she's going to earn. My friend's life would be easier if she recognized that even if she is not the top student in our grade, she is successful. However, the problem isn't just in her head. We live in a culture that rewards winners. At school, this means the person with the highest grades or the one who dominates class discussions receives adult attention and approval, while the rest of us sometimes feel ignored. Too much competition also interferes with school activities. Sports, art, music, and drama offer, offer us chances to spice up our lives with new skills. But many of us choose to avoid these opportunities if we don't have prior experience. We don't want to look foolish when we struggle to master something new. This is very discouraging because middle school should be a time when we feel free to explore the options available to us. We should be learning important life skills like the value of working on teams. But because we receive such strong messages from adults to earn the lead part, students would rather slip on a banana peel in the cafeteria than be stuck in a supporting role. So this is an evidence here about competition. The student got a B plus and she seemed to be upset about it. Some competition is healthy and motivating. The right amount encourages people to set goals and try harder. This is a good thing. However, our school culture has become a toxic stew of competitiveness. Okay? I have even seen students compete for motivational awards like the Student of the Month or for volunteer opportunities, which are supposed to be about helping others, not yourself. All of this competition is taking a toll on our health and happiness. On any given day, Clover Middle School students shuffle through the halls under a dark cloud of doubt and dread. And it's not just us. According to an annual survey conducted by the American Psychological Association, stressed teens, stressed teens outnumbered stressed adults. In fact, 31% of teens who participated in the survey said they felt overwhelmed by stress. As we know from health class, stress can affect a person's sleeping and eating habits. It leads to poor performance, which causes even more stress. So, how can we reverse this trend? I believe we can solve the problem of over competitive school day by changing our attitudes. This is harder than it seems, but if students, teachers, and parents all commit to this new model, I know we can do it. Together, we can create a school culture that recognizes everyone's value, one that celebrates individuality, diligence, and cooperation. Think of what we kids could accomplish if we were given permission to make all the mistakes we needed to make. How freeing, how freeing it would be for us to hear an adult say that growth and progress are more valuable than winning. Growth and progress are more valuable than winning. If we do this, Clover Middle School will not just produce high achieving students, it will produce confident, capable young adults who are eager to tackle life's challenges. Okay, so we just read this story. You can read it one more time and highlight important points. But some of the points that we highlighted was that the middle school day has become so competitive that it is nearly impossible to feel relaxed. And they made an example of a student who earned a B plus in class rather than an A, and she was upset. It says too much competition also interferes with school. The school culture has become a toxic stew of competitiveness, and according to a survey by the Psychological Association, stressed teens outnumber stressed adults. They also said that growth and progress are more valuable than winning. All right, let's go to our question section. And we're going to use a process of elimination to figure out the most suitable answer. All right, so let's look at the first question. Which sentence from the selection states the author's main claim? What is the main thing the author was talking about? So think about it, pause the video, go through the questions, the options. A, middle school is an interesting time. So this was mentioned, but that's not the author's main claim. The middle school day has become so competitive that it is nearly impossible to feel relaxed. We have highlighted this section also while we were reading. And yes, the author was claiming that the school day is too competitive and people can't relax. But let us leave this one and go to the others to ensure that we have the correct answer. It's good to care about your grades, but some students carry this concern too far. So that wasn't the main claim. Sports, art, music, and drama offer us chances to spice up our lives with new skills. That's not the main claim. So B. So these are just reasoning, some reasoning that may support our claim. Which central idea is developed in the selection? A, competition may motivate people to work harder. Is that a central idea? No, because the claim was that the competition, the school was too competitive and people cannot relax. So this wouldn't be supporting the main claim. So that's not the central idea. Studies suggest young people do not get enough sleep. So this is not the central idea. Many teens experience an unhealthy level of competition at school. That sounds like something that is relevant to the author's claim. So let's leave that one. Middle school students are likely to avoid trying new school activities. So no, that one is out. So C is the most suitable answer. Read these sentences from the selection. Too much competition also interferes with school activities. Sports, art, music, and drama offer us chances to spice up our lives with new skills. But many of us choose to avoid these opportunities if we don't have prior experience. We don't want to look foolish when we struggle to master something new. How do these sentences contribute to the selection? All right, so A, they explain why certain activities should be started at a very young age. No, definitely, this was not mentioned in the text. They recommend pastimes that are likely to help students enjoy school. No, that was not discussed in the text. They describe the range of activities that are available at many schools. No, no mention was made of any other school. They provide an additional reason that competition can be harmful. Yes, so this is another reasoning that supports the main claim. Which detail in the selection provides support for the author's claim that too much competition has effect on young people? Okay, you would think we would be a relaxed and happy bunch, right? So this one is incorrect. We live in a culture that rewards winners. So no, this one does not show that too much competition has a negative effect on young people. You have the word rewards and winners, so this one is out. We should be learning important life skills like the value of working on teams. So this one doesn't show that competition has a negative effect on young people. So we're left with D. In fact, 31% of teens who participated in the survey said that they felt overwhelmed by stress. So this definitely supports the author's claim about the competition having a negative effect, because overwhelmed and stress are two negative effects or negative words. Read the sentence from the selection. For example, I recently saw a friend walk out of class looking like she had just gotten some terrible news. When I asked her what was wrong, she said she earned a B plus rather than an A. Why does the author include this information in the selection? To reveal her personal beliefs about grades? No, I don't think she was trying to reveal any beliefs here. B, to explore the meaning of competition. No, that statement does not explain the meaning of competition. C, to describe a change that would make schools better. No, that didn't make reference to any sort of change. So we're left with D, to demonstrate that competitiveness is a common problem. Yes, so the friend, she was having a problem because she scored a B plus instead of an A. So that shows that this problem exists. It's a common problem in the school. This question has two parts. First answer part A, then answer part B. Part A, which statement expresses the author's point of view in the last paragraph? So in the last paragraph, go back to the last paragraph. Okay, I believe we can solve the problem of over-competitive school day by changing our attitudes. This is harder than it seems, but if students, teachers, and parents all commit to this new model, I know we can do it. Together, we can create a school culture that recognizes everyone's value, one that celebrates individuality, diligence, and cooperation. Think of what we kids could accomplish if we were given permission to make all the mistakes we need to make. How freeing it would be for us to hear an adult say that growth and progress are more valuable than winning. If we do this, Clover Middle School will not just produce high achieving students, it will produce confident, capable young adults who are eager to tackle life's challenges. Okay? So this is talking about coming up with a problem to over competitive school. You know, they wanted to change the culture, the school's culture, and recognize everyone's value. So let's go back to the question and see if we gathered enough information. Okay. Which statement expresses the author's point of view? Okay. All right. So schools want students to work hard and make good grades. So based on what we read in that section, this was not discussed in that paragraph. School competition affects only a small number of students. This was never mentioned. Students and faculty have the power to bring about change. Definitely. They were talking about how they could change the school's culture. So let's leave that one. Teachers do not spend enough time talking to their students. This was never mentioned in the text. So C is the most suitable answer. Which sentence from the paragraph supports the answer to part A? Okay, let's read them. Together, we can create a school culture that recognizes everyone's value, one that celebrates individuality, diligence, and cooperation. So I feel like this matches our answer on how we can bring about change, working together to create the school culture or to change the school's culture. So this seems like it could be a possible answer. Let's leave that one and go to the next options. Think of what we kids could accomplish if we were given permission to make all the mistakes we needed to make. Well, this one doesn't quite support the need for change. How freeing it would be for us to hear an adult say that growth and progress are more valuable than winning. That's a good reasoning, but it doesn't directly support the need that students and faculty trying to bring about change. If we do this, Clover Middle School will not just produce high achieving students. So A is our answer. That's the most suitable answer. It is clear, on point. It is sound argument. Okay, and it makes sense. Number 7. According to the selection, what is a cause of the competitive atmosphere in many schools? So remember, while we were reading, they made mention about the staff or the faculty rewarding students who display good academic skills and so on. So this forces the competition. So for example, they mention student of the month in the text. So because of this, students will try to work harder so they can earn student of the month. So let's see which selection is appropriate. A, adults reward students who already have well-developed skills. So that was mentioned about the adults rewarding students. Let's leave that one. Sleeping and eating habits affect how well students perform. Well, that is not relevant to this statement, or that's not relevant to the question here. The cause of the competitive atmosphere. Middle schools do not give students enough responsibility. Well, no, that would not be relevant. Students fear looking foolish while learning a new activity. Definitely not. So A is our most suitable answer. Read the sentence from the selection. At school, this means the person with the highest grades or the one who dominates class discussions receives adult attention and approval, while the rest of us sometimes feel ignored. What does the Latin root domin mean? Domin meaning master. Help the reader determine about the word dominates. So domin means master. When you dominate something, what do you think that means? You try to dominate something. Domin means master. You want to be in charge of it. So let's look at the response. A, that word means control. So in charge and control can be used interchangeably. So let's look at the others. That the word means initiate, well, to start something, no. That the word means tolerate, to put up with, no. That the word means understand or to comprehend something, no. So the word means to control. Okay, boys and girls, thank you for your hard work. And we are going to be working in our small groups as usual. And this time we're going to be working on ReadWorks. And you are going to read the story Just Junk, or you can have it played for you. You can listen to it. So you click on this icon right here.
Just Junk by Jennifer Maggot. See what's really in your favorite fun foods. You know you shouldn't eat junk food.
Then you're going to answer the question set and submit your answers to me. Once you submit, I'll receive your grade. Then you are going to do Nearpod. You click on this link. You type your name. So you're going to type your name so that you can participate in the Nearpod of evaluating arguments. And it says tracing and evaluating arguments. And you follow each slide. It is student pace. So it says read the passage, then trace the arguments in the passage. So you'll have to click on the PDF file to pull up the passage. Okay. Once you have completed that section, you have to provide the argument. You're going to do reason 1, reason 2, and the evidence that supports. Then you're going to do a matching activity here. And you have an open-ended question to answer. Then you show what you know and you'll continue doing this activity. After that, you'll complete the student slide to practice more. So you're going to look at phones in school and you're going to figure out the author's claim about phones in school. And once you have done that, you're going to write the author's point, reasons that the author gave, and evidence. And then you're going to tell, do you agree with the author's point? Why or why not? Then you're going to do your reflection and feedback. But remember, while you're working in your small groups, I will have a small group at my table, and you should remember to be quiet. Do not interrupt the group and stay focused on the task that you have to complete. And once we're finished, we'll do a reflective activity. So you're going to tell me your glows, your glow, your grow, and questions. So for glows, you're going to share what you did well during this task. Tell about what you will work on to grow with this task. And then you're going to ask me any question that you feel you need answered about this task or standard that we're working on. Okay, boys and girls, thank you for your participation. Please remember to share, like, comment, subscribe, and also turn on the post notification bell so you can be reminded of videos once they're uploaded. Once again, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and please tune in for our next video.